Voter suppression comes in many forms. During Jim Crow, we had certain laws, you didn't count the jelly beans, that kind of thing, literacy tests. But now, the way they do voter suppression is a little bit slicker. Now, first, what they do is they research a lot of things. Well, how do people vote? What trends do they vote in? Those kind of things. So if they find out, well, you vote this way, you like this group likes mail-in and that group likes drop boxes or whatever, then they can find a way to suppress it. For example, they may take away souls to the polls, right? Which is where a lot of people vote. They vote on a Sunday or whatever. But they give you an extra day of early voting because they've researched, they figured that, well, not too many people do early voting. But a lot of people do souls to the polls. So how can I cut that voting block, make it a little bit smaller? Well, I'll eliminate souls to the polls, give them another day of early voting. And when they complain about, oh, well, it's voter suppression, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Just because I took away souls to the polls, but I gave you an extra day of early voting. I did a good thing. No, it's all voter suppression because they know that souls to the polls is more popular than early voting. Or if they say, well, we're going to take away these drop boxes, but we're going to make mail-in voting a lot easier because they know everybody actually use drop boxes and very few people use mail-in voting. That's the slick way of doing voter suppression now. They give you something, but they take away that main thing. So now what you have is people waiting on long, long lines because they're not doing souls to the polls anymore. And they're not using early voting. So now they're using these long lines, hoping you get frustrated. You get tired of waiting online. Hey, my favorite TV show is coming on. And you get off the line. Now, the more people that get frustrated and come off the line, that's less voting in that district. Another way is to limit the amount of voting machines you have. You may need 1,000, they only give you 500. Again, the object is to make the line long. Get you frustrated. That way you leave the line. Now, the only way we can combat this is to use their own rules against them. They want to give us more time for early voting, we use early voting. Simple as that. They want to take away drop boxes and give us more mail-in voting, then we use mail-in voting. We have to overcome the obstacles that they put in front of us so that our voices can be heard and our votes can be counted. But if we get frustrated and say, throw our hands up, the hell with it, then we have only ourselves to blame for the outcome of the election. Oh, I'm not going to vote. It's too hard. Okay. Now your school district doesn't get as much money as you need. Or policing in your area is terrible. Or your area gets redlined. Because you don't have a vote at the table, you don't have a seat at the table, you don't have a voice at the table to say, I want X, Y, and Z. And the only way you do that is by voting. So we must overcome those obstacles. Early voting is a good thing. Vote early. If we all vote early, then the lines to vote on voting day, on election day, will be shorter. Less frustration. Less problems. So vote early. Use the mechanisms that they thought were going to stop you from voting. Keep your voice at the table.